start this conversation. We know that this team changed since 2016. And on top of that, at one point, this team was a run first team, and they kind of moved over to passing the ball a little bit more. And I believe the core of this team is still a run first team. Like the Joneses said this offseason and the start of this season, that their strength is the offensive line, right? So we can see all of that. We get all of that. Nevertheless, the Cowboys in 2016, they drafted a guy that wears 2 and a 1 on the back of his jersey. His name is Ezekiel Elliott, and I posted this little clip from CBS. This is where it's a little excerpt from, and it says Ezekiel Elliott rush yards per game have decreased every year since 2016, basically. And as you guys can see on the chart, started off at 108 a game, and they was running the ball a lot. Remember, they was trying to get back to the 2014 philosophy, whereas you run the rock and to open up the passing situation. And in 2017, he had 98.3, and he had 95.6. Shout out to that. That sounds like a radio station, 95.6. And then he had 84.8 in 2020. Now he has 64 yards per game. Now, we can go back and forth to say whether or not it's Ezekiel Elliott or it's the offensive line, but one can say that even though this team is more of passing the ball because basically we are behind a lot, we can say that, hell, the offensive line established a lot with the Dallas Cowboys. Philosophy, scheme, and system. And you pick up Mike McCarthy, who's not a guy that's really going to run the rock. He's an offensive-minded guy. And we are still seeing fingerprints of the Scott Linehan system because that's what Kellen Moore, that's who taught him basically. That's basically his daddy almost, if I can make anything out of it. So I post the thing over in my community chat. I posted on Twitter, and of course I posted on Facebook and YouTube. But let me pull up the community chat on YouTube and this community tab right here. Shout out to everybody that commented, what have you. And I posted, should we be concerned about this, or is much to do about nothing, basically? And I read some comments here. Offense has been, this is from Lamont, he says, has been more of a passing type of situation. I think Ezekiel Elliott has gotten more involved with the passing game. Plus, he's been used as a blocker more. So that's what Lamont said, and he got 11 thumbs up. So a lot of people agree with him. Let me give him some love over here as well, live over here. And Matthew says we should have never paid the running back. Now, with that philosophy, we can all say that, man, running back's lifespan is short. It's very short in the National Football League. So Matthew, he got points there. He got strong points there about the running back situation. Lifespans are very short. Maybe you could have held Ezekiel Elliott foot to the fire, and you could have think out other ways to not, put the money in his hand, basically. So I give him a thumbs up, and I'm gonna give him a heart too. RJ, he says, I think it's concerned, but Ezekiel Elliott numbers have dipped. Dak numbers have gotten better. So there may be a correlation. So let's give him live like 95, a thumbs up, and give him a heart. Ezekiel Elliott needs to take an offseason more seriously. This is the problem, and he got a thumbs up, and he got somebody to combat against that. Let me see what they say. And then I'm going to give him a heart right here. This guy goes and say, well, Tony Romo, Dez Bryant, Matt Eberflus, coach, and this list goes on and on, basically. 20-plus years, and all Dallas has done in the draft, great players only to see their careers flame out because of poor, and he wrote a whole excerpt right here. Poor organization management. As a fan, I hate hearing criticism of great players because he could have outperformed poor organizational leadership. Well, he got a great point, a great rebuttal there. So shout out to RUNE Appreciate you. Let me give you a thumb up. My thing is, he's got some great points here. I really appreciate everybody that's communicating and going back and forth over this, because we got to get to the bottom of this regardless. Should you pay Ezekiel Elliott? Should you just sit back and wait? Should you put his feet to the fire? Is this more so of Dak Prescott or the quarterback passing the ball more, or us being down is the reason why the fall of Ezekiel Elliott? Now, is he the same type of running back? Do he still have the explosiveness? Remember, I got a $100 Cash App out there for the time Ezekiel Elliott hurdled somebody again like he did against the Eagles team or like he did against the Ravens team. I will pay it up to the first person that commented and probably shoot me a message and say, hey, Ezekiel Elliott hurdled somebody again. I got that on the line. And, that's just what it is. But I'm not saying that Ezekiel Elliott is trash or anything. I'm just saying that those days and those times of him hurdling people may be over with. I think it's a concern. This is from my dog, JD. You can see his burst and speed have been declining every year. Now, he got 8 thumbs up on that one. Let me give him a 9. Let me give him a love. Let me see what they say right here with the rebuttal. I mean, if you're seeing the past couple years, past couple games, he showed flashes of his old self. He just doesn't get the ball as much as he used to. This is from George. Shout out to you, George. I love the rebuttal. I look, the last few games, Ezekiel Elliott did show us a little burst, but it wasn't 2016 burst. It wasn't 2017 burst. Hell, it wasn't even 2018 burst. That's all I'm saying. But he did showcase a little burst there. So let's move down a little bit further. I call money. It's called money. I can't read today. It's called money. He's not hungry. He got paid already. Nobody gave this man a like. Nobody gave this man a thumb up or anything. But is it Joe Quan? Really appreciate you, man. Let me just give you a thumb up, man. I'm not saying that the guy got paid, got his money, got his coins, and all of a sudden he's sitting back looking at this thing and saying, I don't want to play no more. I think that he still want to play, because he's still playing with a hurt calf. He's out there battered and bruised up with a poor hamstring. So he's out there because he can easily sit back and say, you know what? I don't have to be here today. I don't have to play today, basically. So that's all I'm saying. All right, so let's move down a little bit further. I think it's the organization, the cause of his decline. I give him a thumbs up. Absolute disappointment. Concern about his work ethics. I can say that during the off season, we know the storylines. We don't have to placate this thing around. We don't have to lie to kick it. We know how this thing goes, right? So I give him a little heart here. Let me see. I'm just going to stroll down a little bit further. I already read over a few of them. This is from a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Big Pain. He says, O-line got older. That became top 10 QB. That's from an Eagles fan, by the way. Big Pain. He said Dak Prescott became a top 10 QB. That's from an Eagles fan. We've been saying that from a minute of years, right? Many of years, many of moons, we've been saying that Dak Prescott, he is that dog. Nevertheless, my dog Zach over here, he says things we should be paying attention in this particular scenario, basically. Average yards per carry, 2016, 5.1, 2017, 4.1, 2018, 4.7. Hey, that ain't bad. 19, 4.5. In 2020, 3.9. I saw some out there that said 4.0, but it's 3.9. I think Zeke is doing all right. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. This is what he's saying, as he has been such a high-producing player for us since he's been here. The man literally goes 110% on every down. Besides the fumbling situation, I agree with him on that, because fumbling 9 times out of 10 is more so on the mental aspect of it, and it's about, hey, can you control that part of it, because you got the ball in your possession. You should take good care of the ball. And fumbling 9 times out of 10 are a mental mistake. All right, so we see that. This year, however, you can see a little hesitations on him. I don't know if it's his state of mind or how he's unconditioned throughout the season. He wrote a whole bunch of other stuff here. But what I'm trying to say is that, or what he's trying to say is, we will get back into the swing of things next year when we have a healthy O-line. Dak will be back in the mix, and I think we will see a much improved Ezekiel Elliott for the year. And my thing is, we will find out. Nevertheless, what it will be at the mercy seat of the way the Cowboys will operate. Just because it's a new year doesn't mean that all of a sudden the offensive line will be healthier, right? Let me read some more. He averaged 4 yards per carry. Let me see if you guys can see that. That's good in the NFL. He just doesn't carry the ball as much because the team is built around Dak. I don't see Dak this year, but I feel what you're saying. He said the team is built around Dak now, throwing the ball, carry the ball less, get less yards per game. Simple math. This is from A.J. Beer. Appreciate you. Let me see if I can find anybody else, man, that commented. All right, so my thoughts are, I agree with most of everybody here. It's in the middle place right now. We really can't paint Ezekiel Elliott into a corner and say, okay, he's trash, he's garbage. The Cowboys did a horrible job because this year's just been crazy. Who would have known what would have happened if Dak Prescott was healthy? If the front office made the right decisions and saw that La'el Collins was, out of shape and made the proper phone calls and say, okay, we bringing in a veteran guy, or we going to get this guy, and we're not going to put Terrence Steele out there, who's an undrafted rookie. Let that sink into your mind. Undrafted rookie to have a grown man's responsibility. Now, on the flip side, Terrence Steele got some valuable reps. He's learning the situation. He should be a better player for 2021 and these sorts of things, or 2022, 2023. But it was at the cost of losing your quarterback, and it was the cost of damaging one of the better running backs in the National Football League, if you look at the complete picture. Dak Prescott rolled to his left to avoid the pressure from Terrence Steele's side, right? Multiple games where we was in the money zone, Terrence Steele gave up his block or got beat. Fumble, a lot of things, not being able to run on their side. And I know it sounds like a bevy of excuses, but that's the reality of it. Those who fail to plan to fail, right? And it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have the opportunity and not be prepared. The Cowboys front office was not prepared. They should have known that even Tyron Smith, that he's not going to give you 16 weeks. He's not going to give you that time and time again. That's just how it goes, Cowboy Nation. I wish that we can just sit back and look at this stat and say, well, this number should be better. This number should be a beautiful number out there opposed to what we've seen this year. It should at least not be 64. It should be at least 75 or even 80, but not all the way at 64. And they did rely on Ezekiel Elliott to run the ball, but he wanted to play basketball with it. So now we have to sit back and look at it and say, okay, well, the Joneses, they said the strength of this team is the front five, and they failed us, right? So now it's 2021 next year. They need to really look at this thing and say, okay, they should know. I'm saying it right now on December the 18th, that they should know in 2020 that they should know that Tyron Smith will not play 16 weeks. Matter of fact, they add in an extra game, so he will not play 17 weeks. They should know that. That excuse should be gone. They should already have a plan of action, something in place to say, okay, we need to look at a left tackle, bring in a left tackle, or develop the guy that we got now and make sure that he will be ready. Not saying that we can predict and see into the future, but they need to remove that excuse and have this front five together. Because if you look at the total picture, Ezekiel Elliott is a good running back, but he only as good as the offensive line, according to what I read, right? So let me know of your thoughts. Let me know how you guys feel of Ezekiel Elliott. Should you be concerned? Is there things, like I said, much to do about nothing? It is the 2020 season. If everybody else get a mulligan, hell, he should be able to get a mulligan. And we should be looking at this thing and saying, okay, it's not him. It's not him. You know, when you read this right here, it's not him. It's all much to do about nothing. And Ezekiel Elliott is still that man, and we looking too much into it, basically. Post me your thoughts, post me your concern down below. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Salute. I'm out.